Things are getting very interesting in the world of gold and silver prices, and generally just any asset that is reacting to the upside in regards to inflation. You can even check Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up as well as other cryptocurrencies. Now, specifically about gold and silver, and more so about silver in this video, things are looking pretty strong today. Silver is up about 2.07% right now. Gold is up 0.38%. Now, between these two assets, people are basically counting out gold, saying, hey, things are not looking that great. People are kind of rotating out of gold and going into Bitcoin. I still say do not count gold out just yet. In fact, over the course of the last several days, things have been looking pretty good for gold, just, day over day. But we'll talk about that some other time. But specifically for silver, things are looking very great. And generally for a lot of assets that are tied to industry, things are looking great. You can even check copper as well. We can take a look at the gold to silver ratio, for example, and you can definitely see that things are more so favoring silver at the moment. The best way to take a look at this is whenever you see a bar chart going down, that means it's starting to favor the denominator, which is silver. Whenever you see a bar chart going up, it is favoring the numerator. So basically, by the end of September, we saw the gold to silver ratio favor gold, but currently since October, we've been seeing it favor silver more and more. Hence, while we have a 2% up day in silver versus a 0.36 up day in gold. Now, here we have the Fibonacci retracement. Also, we have the Bollinger Bands and a trend line here, because I want to show you exactly what I've been seeing. And essentially, we bounced off from a low. Again, right at the end of September, things were favoring gold more than silver, but by the beginning of September, silver took the lead. And from there, we hit this bump, which was pretty much right at the top of or I'm sorry, not the top, but right at the support level, previous support level, and then it started to hit a more so recent resistance level here at the $23.41 level. But today we're starting to edge up a little bit more. Looks like we're trying to creep up more into this band here. And if we take a look at the Bollinger Band specifically, we've been up above the EMA and we've been hugging that upper band. So as far as volatility is concerned, we've been seeing higher levels of volatility within silver that have been benefiting it to the upside. And you can always tell that things look pretty good when your candlesticks are actually above the trend line and not so much just touching it and even maybe kind of edging a little bit lower than the trend line here. We've actually been seeing silver prices edge above the trend line and combining with the Bollinger Bands, hugging that upper band. So if we scroll down a little bit more, we see that silver is actually closer to or a little bit above the fair value level of 50, approaching 60 for the RSI. So things are looking pretty good for silver. And again, I've even mentioned copper as well. And, we can talk about assets like Bitcoin. Things are looking pretty good. For gold, though, this is why I say don't count gold out just yet. Gold also had some issues earlier. And, people have been saying, well, just look at how much it's been manipulated. It goes up and down and with these strong levels, how can you even deal with it? Currently, gold is at fair value according to the RSI, and it's been hugging the trend line. Hasn't been looking as strong as silver, but the moral of the story here is that gold has actually been moving up in addition with silver, even though silver has been outcompeting it since October. Gold has actually been moving up since the beginning of October as well. So that is another positive sign for the metal. Now, remember, with my silver forecasting model, gold is actually a input for the silver price moving higher. So again, when gold moves higher, generally we should expect silver to move higher as well. And that's what we're seeing currently. So right now, we're kind of struggling here with gold at this 1770 level, you could say. If we can get above that and start to kind of trend a little bit more between 1770 and let's just call it 1800. Right here is 1796, but let's just call it 1800. If we can see it basically touch this or just have more activity between these two bands, I think things are looking pretty positive for gold. But for silver right now, things are basically looking a bit better. Now, as far as the assets are looking in the medium to long term, we need to take a look a little bit more at some of the fundamentals here. And obviously, I've been talking a lot more about inflation, or a lot about inflation for the past, several months. And we've been seeing a lot more reports coming out from a lot of major newspapers basically questioning, is inflation really transitory? From the Hill, you have people saying, is the current inflation spike really transitory? Wall Street Journal saying Fed officials see transitory inflation lasting quite a while. You go a little bit further, Reuters saying transitory inflation is a fig leaf that's slipping. So more and more, we are seeing people saying that, hey, inflation may not be as transitory as we thought. Here we have Mohammed El-Arian saying this inflation round is not transitory. So again, people are becoming a little bit more skeptical, joining us with where we were as far as our skepticism was concerned several months ago. So we were kind of ahead of the curve here. So let's take a look here at the building permit data that just came out today. And this is going to be a canary in the coal mine for us because it slipped mightily. It dropped 7.7%. Now, for those of you who don't know, the building permits data basically shows how much the housing market or how active the housing market is or will be in the future by the amount of building permits that are permitted. Now, if the amount of building permits that are permitted drops, then you can basically say that the demand, or it could be supply or demand issues, but basically that the housing market is not going to be as strong in the future. And as we know, within the United States, that's not a good thing. So when we see inflation on the rise and we see the potential for a hit to GDP, such as a drop in building permits like we have been seeing, and this is a continued trend, guys, as we can see here. Since January, things have pretty much been trending downward. Just as many people have been noting that US GDP might be slowing down a little bit in the future, but this is a huge drop from where it was in August. This basically keeps spelling out the things that we have been talking about, which is the potential for stagflation. Again, we may be seeing slower growth. We've got high unemployment. We've got, less in the way of supply, and we've got inflation. Now let's take a look at what they actually have to say here regarding building permits. And you'll see again my argument for this, for stagflation. Actually, let's just jump right here to this sentence, and then you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Builders have been reporting supply chain disruptions, so again, a hit to supply, and labor shortages, again, hit to labor, while mortgage rates have been rising due to inflation. So higher inflation, lower supply, lower unemployment. Guys, things just keep spelling out a short run stagflation. I'm not saying it's going to be long run. I'm saying that we might see it in the short run. And some people are saying that it's actually happening right now. And funny enough, while we see building permits drop, you know what we're seeing rising? Lumber prices. Take a look here. We saw that huge drop in lumber prices, but since pretty much we can say, or we can even back it out to here. between August and September, we hit a low, and then we've been steadily rising, and pretty much really since September 14th, we really start to see a rise here in lumber prices. And you know exactly what happened around September 14th? Well, I've been talking about a lot in videos recently. We saw the US 10-year Treasury yield rise dramatically around September 13th, and we saw the Delta variant cases drop dramatically around September 13th. So lumber prices have been rising pretty much on the back of that, as well as the US 10-year Treasury note yield. And as we know, that is a nominal rate where through the Fisher effect, there is an addition of inflation expectations that happen, which causes yields to rise for the 10-year. So guys, what I'm basically saying is that inflation is going to be an issue. It's impacting lumber prices. It's impacting commodities. It's impacting Bitcoin. While we're seeing higher rates of still unemployment, labor shortages, and supply chain issues. So this will be a benefit for silver in the medium term. So guys, again, when it comes to the near term, I like to look at a lot of technical analysis. When it comes to the medium term, I like to really start taking a look at fundamentals, and both are looking pretty good right now for silver. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below.